We all have important goals we'd love to achieve, both to benefit ourselves and those we love. The way to achieve them is to always think positive and then do the work to make the dream happen. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. On today's show, you'll see some of the progressive steps government is taking to grow Jamaica's agricultural sector. Natural disasters such as hurricanes can derail those plans. So, we'll deal with the troublesome obstacles later in the show. More is on the way, but to see it all, you have to stick around. You do that while we take a quick break.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
Government is in production mode and it's bringing Jamaica's farmers along for the ride. Take a look.
To feed ourselves, import less of what we eat and export more of what we produce, we have to grow more. And that means putting more lands under production, outfitting them with the necessary infrastructure, and getting more farmers to till the soil. Agriculture Minister Derek Kelly told us how that has been going in his contribution to the sectoral debate on April 21.
We have at the 31st of March 2015 established 9 agro-parks. And this is through a mix of investment between public-private partnerships and in every instance connecting farmers with markets. In a mere 2 years, we have expended over $718 million to outfit over 754 hectares of land with modern infrastructure for production, processing, and marketing. This expenditure is already giving returns. Over 1.75 million kilos of produce have been reaped and some 1,428 persons have been employed.
Import substitute crops were targeted, including onions and Irish potato, and the 2014 calendar year recorded a 4.5% reduction in the country's $1 billion food import bill. That represents $43.6 million, or a little over 5 billion Jamaican dollars, the largest decline since 2009. And Minister Kelly intends to see this trend continue.
Therefore, in 2015-16, we propose to undertake the following. 1, to complete infrastructure works now in progress at Spring Plains and Ebony Park, and Yalas, New Forest, Duff House, and Mailersfield Agro Parks, where we are now spending some $418 million to complete irrigation systems, roads, drainage, land clearance, and parking facilities. 2, we are to commence the construction of a brand new water supply system in Hill Run. 3, we are to extend the Hanslow irrigation system and construct farm roads to complement the packing house and the pepper mash facility already established there to make this also a new agri-park. 4, we will install an irrigation system at Spring Ground in St. Elizabeth to engage over 80 hectares, some 200 acres of land for a new agri-park. 5, we'll commence production activities in the non-such Unity Agri-Park in St. Mary, where there is now an overwhelming demand for lands to engage in export banana, cocoa, and coconut production. 6, we intend to commence infrastructure works in Seven Rivers, Enfield, and Sunderland to create new agri-parks.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Yeah, man. The Agriculture Ministry means business this year.
For the 2015-2016 year, we project the involvement of over 300 more farmers, 5 major buyers, and the establishment of 120 hectares, yielding some 2,400 tons or 20% of the imports, thus creating more than 150 additional jobs in the onion program. To take advantage of the tremendous export potential for Jamaican produce, we are currently targeting bananas for the British market and cocoa, especially in St. Mary, both local and new varieties of sweet potato, watermelons, hot peppers, mango, and spices. In this regard, we will be following closely the market access acquired for Trinidad and Tobago for dasheen, hot peppers, and banana.
Farmers are going to be very busy, and the Rural Agricultural Development Authority's extension officers and marketing teams, as well as the ministry's support staff, will be lending support to ensure that these measures stay on track. As he addressed Parliament, Minister Kelly also made it clear that he was not prepared to give up fertile agricultural lands for other developments.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries this year will bring to Parliament, in conjunction with the Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change, an agricultural land utilization policy. And let me just sound a warning. It's not going to be an easy ride to get this ministry to yield good agricultural lands for housing, because it is a diminishing factor. Over the next 5 years, for instance, we want to sequester and develop some 8,093 hectares, approximately 20,000 acres of government lands to put into agri-parks.
Are you picturing the agriculture sector in a few years with all these lands under production? I think we will have achieved food security or very close to it, and probably feeding other countries. But we're not just going to stop at developing lands and forget to put security in place to protect the farmers. The recently appointed Predial Larceny Unit is working, and the new policies are coming on stream for reinforcement.
We will be presenting to Cabinet shortly proposal for increasing fines under the Agricultural Produce Act. And similarly, we have asked the Ministry of National Security to initiate the same in respect of the Predial Larceny Prevention Act. The National Animal Identification and Traceability System is a critical component of our anti-predial larceny drive. And under the proposed amendments to the Agricultural Produce Act, we are going to simplify and activate the provisions for all handlers of agricultural produce. From here on, we will see an intensification of operations by the police, and this will be a sustained operation.
Turning to the sugar industry, production went up by 20.4% in 2014. There was also a 27% expansion in cultivation, and the government is committed to enhancing the social transformation of the sector.
We propose to spend over $700 million to rehabilitate some 80 kilometers of roads in all cane growing areas of Jamaica. We will train an additional 600 persons, including young people, at a cost of $122 million. And we'll also complete an additional 80 social infrastructure projects in sugar-dependent areas in this financial year at a cost of some $273.4 million.
The Fisheries Division got equal attention from the Ministry of Agriculture. The minister told us about ongoing work to develop policies for better management of the sector, a $289,000 grant to develop a management plan for sea cucumbers, and measures to address poaching.
I confidently expect that the new fisheries bill will be tabled this year. I will also be bringing to the House a bill within a few weeks to amend the existing Fisheries Acts of 1976, specifically to deal with increasing of fines. The plunder of our resources by poachers require the urgent amendment of the Act to increase the fines. Additionally, the drones announced by Minister Clark last year have been acquired and are now being tested for early deployment. As we speak, proposals are heading to the Cabinet for the amendment of the Conch Cess Levy Act of 2009 to make provisions for the imposition of a cess on other species as and when we begin to exploit them. It is this cess, Mr. Speaker, that will be used to sustainably manage the resources, including the much trumpeted cleanup of the Pedro Keys.
It's still early days into the new fiscal year, so there is enough time to get all these things going. The Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries is committed to the plan.
Together we continue to lead the charge to grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Because as a government we have sought once and for all to put agriculture on a sustainable footing.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
You knew May was Hurricane Preparedness Month, right? Well, now you know. If the country and individuals are not prepared for this force of nature, all manner of things can go wrong. Up next, what we can do to mitigate the wind damage, particularly for the agricultural sector.
Disasters do happen and losses can be horrendous. The agricultural sector is no exception. Quite often, food production is hit hard by the onslaught of hurricanes, flooding, landslides, and even droughts. Proper planning and the right system is your best defense against threats posed by natural disasters. One of those systems, greenhouse farming. You must follow some important procedures to safeguard the value of your pricey investment against wind damage. Agricultural Development Officer Webster McPherson tells us what needs to be done.
What can greenhouse farmers do to reduce the impact?
As soon as it is certain that the hurricane will hit or come close to the island, we advise that they remove all their mature fruits from their trees first. This is to prevent the fruits from absorbing excess moisture, which will cause them to crack and to make them unmarketable.
Then, remove the plastic and the mesh cladding from the houses. Farmers, you also lay your plants flat. Cover them with mesh, weigh them down so your crops don't get blown away by the wind.
Or those farmers who can afford it, where the plants are grown in grow bags or in pots, plants can actually be literally taken out of the greenhouse to a secure storage, like maybe a 40-foot container or a flat concrete roof building. And as soon as the hurricane passes, the plants are taken out of storage, back into the house, be connected back to the trellising system, be connected back to the irrigation system. They replace the cladding, replace the plastic, and the farmers are back in business.
Sounds pretty easy going, with a sure sense of security. Greenhouses, built with a locking profile device, makes for easy removal and reassembly of the plastic and mesh.
One of the advantages of that is that while the open field would be devastated, the greenhouse farmers will be back in business in a very short time.
Just in case crops suffer damage, one suggestion is that farmers should have seedlings growing during the hurricane season. They'll be able to use these seedlings for replanting quickly after the hurricane season has passed.
Usually, when the open field is devastated, you tend to have a scarcity. And the greenhouse farmers will be the only persons who have fruits if they take the necessary steps to mitigate against the damaging effects of the hurricane. And so they'll benefit from high prices. Dismantling a greenhouse like this with a crew of 6 to 10 persons could take 2 hours. Putting it back will take a little longer, take you a day. This house doesn't have any welded joints, right? All the joints are connected with nuts and bolts and brackets. Welding in a greenhouse structure is a point of weakness, right? And there's a saying in greenhouse technology that your house is as strong as your weakest welded joint, because all you want to have is one joint snapping and the entire thing come down in domino effect.
Crops like your banana are susceptible to wind damage. Some farmers erect wind barriers by planting selected trees on the perimeter of their farm plots to reduce the effects. These prevent direct impact of heavy winds and storms. Proper pruning techniques will help prevent the loss of fruit trees like mango and trees of similar structural growth by allowing them to withstand strong winds. This is where we have to leave you for now. But remember, disasters do happen. You don't have to lose. Be prepared. Until next time, take care.
Trees are likely to be damaged by strong winds from storms and hurricanes, but we can protect against such event by simply pruning them. In the end, we will still have our trees standing. Here is how you can go about doing that.
Our trees are prone to damage during storms and hurricanes, a somewhat heart-rending situation, especially when we lose our good fruit-bearing trees. What can we do to protect our trees? Just prune them. Pruning will not only save the trees from wind damage, it improves production and makes harvesting much easier.
The tools you need for the job for pruning are necessarily your secateur and your pruning saws. Other mechanical tools might include your telescopic pole pruners, like what we have here. This pole pruner has the ability to extend to approximately 13 feet.
Before you cut the tree, one of the things you need to do is to assess the whole tree. Walk around the tree, look at it. If I cut this branch, how will it affect the growth on that side? If I cut over here, where the branch will fall.
Once you've established your reasons for pruning, which may be numerous, it's time to cut away those excess or unwanted parts of the tree.
This tree is approximately 25 feet tall, and it's too tall. Whenever the tree is too tall, it will serve as a barrier or a resistance to the wind during the storm. And if the tree puts up too much resistance, it causes the tree to topple over or uprooted. And if the tree is too compact, if you have a lot of branches overcrowding each other and crossing each other, then the canopy will be too thick, it will be too compact. So if and when the storm comes and the wind, the tree will provide a resistance, and that is where you get the damage. You get damage to your branches or even to the extent where the tree is uprooted. So what we are doing is to reduce the height of the tree and at the same time open up the canopy so the air can pass through. Basically, you need to reduce the height of your tree to about 12 feet. So by the time you get regrowth. If you notice where the branch joins the trunk of the tree, there's a swelling here. This is a swelling. This is known as your branch color, like your shirt color. So whenever you're cutting and pruning your trees in preparation for the storm, or you're doing your normal pruning, you need to cut your branch within an inch of the branch color. And if you cut within an inch of the branch color, they don't need to paint it. You don't need to paint it. Suppose you need to remove this branch. Where these two branches join, you refer to it as a fork. Like a fork, you need to remove this one, you cut within an inch of the fork. If you notice, there are some bumps here. If you notice, here's a bump here, another bump here, one here. These bumps are known as node. And there's a swelling at each node. And the same reason that there are sufficient chemicals and tissue in here to seal the cut. So if you need to remove this branch out here, you remove it within an inch of the node. Granted, you make your cut slant, like at a 45-degree angle, so when the rain falls, the water will run off. But like in everything else, every rule has exception. If you are pruning an avocado, a breadfruit tree, or a June plum, then you need to paint those. Because the center of those trees are like a sponge, and they will absorb the water and you will lose the tree. Now that we have removed the apical branches and we are opening up the entire center of the tree, the canopy, what you are looking at now is like a wine glass effect.
For young trees, you should start pruning and train them as they get to 3 feet. Ensure your branches are spreading laterally and not vertically, and to keep your fruit tree at a maximum height of no more than 15 feet. Grow well. Until next time, take care.
That can easily change if we allow the cutting of trees, forest fires, animal grazing, crop cultivation, or improper dwellings to destroy our forest reserves. Help preserve Jamaica's flora and fauna. If you know or suspect that someone is hurting our forest reserves, call 1-888-FORESTS. Remember, protecting our forests means sustaining our lives.
The sectoral debate wrapped up in Parliament this week. We recap that and all the news developments next.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. The sectoral debate continued this week with the Health Minister announcing a comprehensive audit of the island's major hospitals and health centers to determine the availability of supplies and other challenges.
The results will be addressed through the additional resources provided for pharmaceuticals and sundries in this financial year's budget.
He also said plans to implement a shift system in the public health sector was being suspended until a task force established to examine the delivery of medical care had completed its work. In the meantime, several health centers will be upgraded during the fiscal year, while 12 hospitals are to be upgraded at a cost of $460 million.
Among these facilities, Mr. Speaker, will be the further expansion of the Linstead Hospital and the Princess Margaret Hospital accident and emergency area.
During her sectoral presentation on Wednesday, the Youth and Culture Minister Lisa Hanna tabled a green paper to amend the National Youth Policy.
We expect this to galvanize the focus of the country on the importance of youth development to secure the nation's future. I appeal to my colleagues here in the House, the public and the private sector to utilize this policy and to develop youth programs that will reduce the obstacles that they have to get to where they want to get to.
Tourism and Entertainment Minister Dr. Wickham McNeill closed the 2015-2016 sectoral debate on Wednesday and praised the new format, which saw the entire process wrapping up within 4 weeks instead of the usual months and much shorter individual presentations.
Our presentations were limited, Mr. Speaker, to 45 minutes for ministers and 30 minutes for opposition spokespersons.
That is the discipline.
Our not being able to speak for 2 and 3 hours compelled us to be more disciplined, selective, and efficient.
In other news, the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, this week said it expected Jamaica to pass the 8th IMF test, even though the country missed the primary balance target for the January to March quarter of this year.
I think that I can say unequivocally from EPOC's point of view that the IMF should give the country a waiver.
On Tuesday, the Ministry of Health signed a contract with Varian Medical Systems to build 2 cancer treatment centers at the St. Joseph's Hospital in St. Andrew and the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James at a cost of $14.465 million. The first center will be ready within a year and the second in approximately 18 months. They will deliver state-of-the-art radiation equipment and treatment to Jamaicans suffering from the deadly disease.
That would move the cost significantly as it relates to the private sector down for the most vulnerable in our society to 0.
Government announced this week that it was making representation with U.S. and Caribbean trade representatives to help resolve the intellectual property rights issue that will force local cable operators to stop showing channels for which they do not have a license. The Office of the Prime Minister also clarified that the regulatory action was not prompted by discussions during the recent visit of U.S. President Barack Obama and was not the result of an escalation in a trade issue internationally. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller launched Workers' Week and Labor Day 2015 this week, announcing that activities were to focus on the theme, Labor of Love, Nurturing Our Children.
This year, we are utilizing Labor Day to take a united stand and declare in one voice, no more abusing of our children, no more killing of innocent little children. Instead, let us join hands and hearts in creating spaces for them to enjoy their childhood years.
The 2015 national project is the Rudolph Elder Park in Morant Bay, St. Thomas. And finally, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller and other national leaders engaged students across the island in various Read Across Jamaica Day events on Tuesday. Read Across Jamaica Day is an annual event which forms part of the Jamaica Teachers Association's Education Week of activities. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
This is where we close Jamaica Magazine for today. We're back tomorrow with more useful information. In the meantime, keep the link, won't you? Use our Facebook and Twitter pages, YouTube channel and the JIS website to stay in touch and get the very latest government information. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to eat well, exercise regularly, and get some rest as you make every day a productive one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.